Hi guys, thank you so much for joining us today. This is an Academy on Air presented by Google Partners, and today we'll be focusing on Google's smart bidding solutions. My name is Erin Sagan, and I'm joined here by Matt Walter. So we're really excited to get started. This is one of our favorite AdWords topics to cover. So, as many of you know, consumer behavior has been evolving considerably over the past few years. New ways to connect, particularly mobile devices, have created more customer touchpoints than we've ever seen before along the customer journey. These touchpoints bring more data signals, which provide insights to the content and the intent and the context of the particular user. So this is awesome to have more information, but it also means that there's a lot more information that we have to work with as marketers. So in turn, marketing technology has become significantly more sophisticated, enabling advertisers and marketers to better understand and then actually take action in accordance with their user behaviors. So what does this actually mean for the future of advertising? Well, let's think back a little bit. In the past, say 10 years ago, when many of us started working in AdWords accounts, things were actually pretty simple. When you set up your ad campaigns, all you had to do was a little bit of keyword research, choose your keywords, then pick your bids, and kind of let it go from there, right? We were using our keywords to understand our customer's intent, and that was it, really. We were kind of guessing after that, just assuming that based on the keyword that they were searching, we knew whether or not they would be a good fit for our business. But now we have way more information. So a couple years ago, as smartphone usage became more and more prevalent, small businesses began to optimize their local search listings, and we started to be able to get a little bit more targeted. This led to a new emphasis on more information. We had factors like location, interest, the type of device used, and we could take that information and use it to empower our marketing campaigns and make smarter decisions. Now things are really crazy. Nowadays, we can track way more signals than ever before. I mean, look at this wheel and think, all of these signals, there's so much you can know about a particular searcher who's searching for your business or someone on the display network who may be a good fit for you. You're taking all of these many signals into account, and there's different combinations for every single person out there. So this wide breadth of signals creates significantly more complexity for marketers, but it also creates more opportunity. It allows us to be really strategic about our bids, it allows us to be strategic about our targeting, and ultimately ensures that we're spending our money on the people and the moments that matter. So, long story short, the key to smart bidding and bidding strategically is to bid based on every unique user's combination of signals. The problem is that's a total headache. I think we would all agree. We saw all of those signals on the page before. We know that it can vary so much per person. It's kind of like a Rubik's Cube of information that we have to come across for every particular user. So manually assessing all of these factors for every single auction is nearly impossible. And frankly, even if you're a highly skilled advertiser, you can't be up all night thinking about every auction and tweaking your bids to every single user. Not only is this manual bidding challenging, it's also incredibly time-consuming. And as a business owner, someone who may work at an agency, do you really want to sacrifice all of your time and your manpower on manual bidding when there's so many more bigger, more strategic initiatives that you could be focused on? My guess is the answer is probably not. I think we are all desperate to add more time back to our day, and God forbid that we're spending it solely on manual bidding. So we're going to be focusing today on how you can bid smarter with less time. I'm going to turn it over to Matt to take it from here.
Perfect. So first I want to talk about the power of machine learning and how that's integrated into AdWords. So machine algorithms can analyze up to 70 million signals within 100 milliseconds, which is incredible. And this is by looking at different signals, for example, like the devices that people use, demographics, or an operating system. And the power leveraged here is incredible.
It's more than my personal human brain can do at once, that's for sure.
I'll add myself as well to that. I specifically want to talk about 3 different benefits that we see and why we feel smart bidding is beneficial. And that's how you can work faster, work smarter, and win more, which is what we all want. So first, talk about how smart bidding helps you to work faster. So as I mentioned earlier, with the power of machine learning, because of the capabilities to analyze millions of signals in milliseconds, that really helps the system to quickly interpret all possible data combinations. And that using that power instead of, as Aaron mentioned, you having to do that on your own manually, we feel that this is something that saves you time. Specifically, evaluating data signals to proactively set optimal bids for every auction, and just being able to be there real time at the auction level for every single auction that's happening, and having smart bidding take that off your plate, it's kind of unparalleled in terms of the optimization that you can get through that technology. One stat to call out, marketers are 50% more likely to increase investments in capabilities like machine learning. This is becoming more and more commonplace as time rolls on. Again, this just shows some of the different signals that could be analyzed. It is kind of like a Rubik's Cube.
So many things to think about.
For sure. One quote that I think also just highlights the power of smart bidding that I'd like to share. This comes from Josh Sutton. I'll go ahead and read this. The ability to automate more mundane, machine-like functions makes marketers more effective and efficient at their jobs, and able to focus on more high-level work, like strategy, in order to achieve better results. Taking the mundane out of the work and freeing up time to allow us to do more strategic efforts is an important point here. Second, I want to talk about how smart bidding helps you to work smarter. So over on the left on this slide, here's kind of a current landscape of how someone's time might be used, a marketer, when they're optimizing their ad accounts. One thing you'll notice there is the majority of the time is spent on bidding. Not ideal, as this doesn't leave a significant amount of time to focus on other strategic initiatives. With the power of smart bidding, however, if you look over on the right, this allows you to reduce the time investment that you're putting into monitoring your bidding, because you allow our technologies to help you with that, which really frees up your time to focus on other areas. It increases your bandwidth to focus on those other strategic areas to make sure that you're firing on all cylinders when you're looking at your overall ad strategy. And lastly, smart bidding helps you to win more, which is important. I have a customer example here that I'd like to share. So Grip's a procurement platform company. They transitioned to one of our fully automated bid strategies, which is Target CPA, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. And their account experienced a 38% increase in conversions and 24% reduction in their cost per acquisition, which is incredible stats. And it's something that you as well could experience as you adopt AdWords smart bidding.
It's actually pretty amazing to think they did less work and they got a 38% increase in conversions. That's the dream, right?
I agree. So as we're kind of just mentioning, it helps you achieve a higher return on investment using an automated strategy is one main reason to do this. Also maintaining control of your spend by setting budget thresholds that you can set as like a cost per acquisition, or if you happen to measure your return on your ad spend, you can also measure that, or max CPC bids as well. I'm going to turn it over to Aaron now to talk a little bit about identifying the right bidding strategies for your business.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys are all bought into the concept of smart bidding, because frankly, how could you not be? But there's a lot of options out there, and I know I in particular, when I was managing accounts, could get very overwhelmed by all of the options available to me and picking the right one for my business or my customer's business. So we wanted to spend some time talking about the different strategies available to you and when you might use a particular strategy over another. So here's what we have to work with. Like I was saying, there's a ton of options out there. And we really here at Google trying to align each of these strategies back to a campaign goal, right? We're thinking about your marketing objectives, and we want to ensure that we always have a strategy available depending on what your objectives may be, because our different advertisers have so many different goals and focuses. So we have a couple up here that we'll skip for today. That's target outranking share, which focuses on visibility, and maximize clicks, which focuses on website clicks. Those are great, but what we really want to call attention to are those that we deem smart bidding. So those are those at the bottom: the enhanced CPC, maximize conversions, target CPA, and target ROAS. These guys are heavily focused on conversions and sales or revenue, the things that the vast majority of our advertisers are hyper-focused on. So in our conversations today, we'll try and focus on that group in particular, our smart bidding group of strategies. All right, so should we walk through our chart of all of the different strategies?
Yeah, let's start by talking about the smart bidding options that are available to you in AdWords. So first would be enhanced CPC. So this applies across search, display, or shopping campaigns. We do have some recommendations in terms of the maximum search conversions that you would want to be able to get started with this would be 15 conversions in the last 30 days. If you're doing a display campaign, you could start from scratch. And it is compatible with most third-party bid management tools. So one call out there, if you are doing your bidding through a third party, you can layer eCPC bidding on top of that, and that is recommended as a best practice with enhanced CPC. Next, we'll talk about maximize conversions. This is currently available on the search network. Again, there's that recommendation of if you choose to use this strategy to have 15 conversions in the last 30 days. This strategy is useful if you don't know what your target CPA bid is. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. And if your ultimate goal is to just maximize your conversions, this might be a good one for you. Next is target CPA bidding. This is applicable across search, display, and apps. And this is if you understand or know what your target cost per acquisition is, you can put that into our system and we will optimize against that and help you to get conversions at a cost that you agree or a target that you set. And that's what the system will be working towards. And lastly, if you happen to measure your target return on ad spend, which not everyone does, but if you do, this is a great strategy. I'll talk a little bit more, some details about this later of who this is a good fit for. One call out here is you typically want to have a fairly healthy volume of conversions to be eligible to implement this strategy. One thing I'll call out too on this slide, we do move from left to right in terms of the sophistication or the power that the bid strategies can bring to your account. Enhanced CPC over on the left, starting as like a semi-automated bid strategy, moving over, sliding to the right, all the way to target return on ad spend, being like the most fully automated solution that you could see the most uplift from.
Yeah, so let's deep dive into each of those because this, like I was saying, it is tricky to choose the right one for you. I think that graph on the last slide was super helpful because you can see the ROI potential kind of spectrum on the bottom there, which I think is a good way to choose the one that you want to use. Generally, if you are eligible for those more sophisticated strategies, then you're going to want to use those. But if you're not eligible, let's think about things like max CPC and enhanced CPC. So this slide focuses on enhanced CPC. This is definitely the less automated version of smart bidding. So you can control your max CPC bids with enhanced CPC. That said, we will adjust them slightly to help you boost your conversion count. So we use that smart bidding technology and those machine learning concepts to adjust them for the people that matter, improving your overall bidding efficiency and gaining you more conversions. Couple things to think about here. You want to use eCPC if you're exploring bid automation, but you're not quite ready to take the full plunge yet. You know, you're kind of dipping your toes in and seeing how you feel about it. This is great, I think, sometimes for agencies who are working with a client who's particularly jumpy about moving into an automated solution. This is a great way to kind of test the waters, get your toes wet, get comfortable with smart bidding, and then you can move to those more advanced, more sophisticated strategies that will yield even better results. This is also great if your campaign has super low conversion volume and it's not ready for those other solutions. So you may have seen, when we look at target CPA or target ROAS, you really do need to meet certain thresholds in order to be eligible for those and in order for the algorithms to have enough information to work with. So this is like a good way to start when you're building a new campaign, and then as soon as you make it to that conversion threshold and you're eligible for the other guys, you can move to them. And then finally, as Matt mentioned, if you're using a third-party solution for bidding, I think a lot of time people think, well, shoot, I can't use any of Google's solutions, I can't use smart bidding. It's actually not true, which is kind of cool. You can use both. Kind of like even better than just one. It is dependent on the third-party software that you're using. So you'll want to talk to your AdWords representative or whomever you're working with at that third party to understand if this layering is going to be a good fit for that particular software. But generally, Enhanced CPC is able to be layered on top of those third-party bidding solutions, giving you even better opportunities for bidding and allowing you to take advantage of that true auction time bidding capability. That's what a lot of these platforms don't offer, is that real-time ability to assess whether a user is a good fit for you, taking advantage of those incredible machine learning algorithms. And so this is a good way to get the best of both worlds. Next up, maximize conversions. This is going to be a good fit if you want to drive as many conversions as possible within your specified budget, which is cool, right? You still maintain control over your budget. You can still feel super comfortable on that front, but you're kind of like wringing everything you can out of it and getting to that best potential. So you might be a good fit for maximize conversions if you don't have a specific CPA goal and your focus is solely on getting as many conversions as possible. You do need to ensure that you're hitting some basic eligibility requirements. So your campaign has to get at least 15 conversions over the last 30 days. Like Matt was saying, that's sheerly because we need that information. We need those smarts in order to drive more. So as long as we have that base information, the conversion information, we can use, our algorithm can use that to help you get even more conversions. And then this is also a great fit if your campaign is limited by budget. So, as you're going to hear with some of the more sophisticated strategies, it's really crucial that your budget is not constrained because these algorithms need room to grow and adjust. For this particular one, it's fine if you're limited by budget. So if you do run into that particular scenario, maximize conversions might be a perfect fit for you. Also keep in mind it's good for you if you have less than 90% impression share. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Matt for the really serious ones.
Thanks, Erin.
And do the hard work.
So next, we want to talk about the target CPA bid strategy. So this is a full automation bidding solution, and this leverages machine learning capabilities to set bids for each individual auction. As we mentioned earlier, it does eliminate the guesswork from bid optimization, and which really gives you more time to focus on strategic initiatives. And it's available across both the search and display networks. A couple keys here to help you understand if this is a good fit for you. So if your goal is to drive more conversions at a specific cost per acquisition, this is something you would want to use. Going back to max conversions, as Erin was just talking about, that's a good fit if you don't understand yet what your cost per acquisition is. If you do have a defined cost per acquisition, that would be a major difference between deciding between max conversions and target CPA. And you could also look at the simulation data in the AdWords Opportunity Center inside of your account. And if you see positive simulation data there, that's a good indicator that this potentially could have positive results for you. So check into the Opportunity Center to see if you have that data available to help you predict if this is a good fit for you. And then lastly, we want to talk about target ROAS, or target return on ad spend. So this is really optimizing against conversion value to offer a revenue-focused bidding option that delivers a higher return on investment. And again, this enables you to weigh each individual conversion action based on the total value it provides to your business. So if you had placed different value on different conversion types.
Like if you're selling pencils and computers, maybe there's
Not
two
the same
different
return
values
there.
there.
Exactly. This would be a good fit for you. And it's available across search, display, and shopping campaigns. So a couple pointers here about determining if this is a good bid strategy for you. As Aaron was just mentioning, if you do have conversions that are very different in value, one where you're getting a lot bigger of a return versus maybe more of a shallow return, this allows you to go into the system and identify for us and help us understand how much you value each one of your different conversion types. So be considering this if you have different offerings or different products that you're selling in your business through your ads. And then the other requirement here is it does require a significant amount of conversion volume to be successful. Our algorithms really are hungry for data to be able to work, to have this strategy work. We need to see that conversion volume. So the requirement would be at least 100 conversions per month in your account to consider using target return on ad spend. And those are our two fully automated smart bidding strategies.
All right, so we just talked you through all of the smart bidding strategies. You guys are probably thinking, what is the next thing I should be doing? Like, how do I actually take advantage of these and take advantage of them correctly to ensure that I'm getting the best return as I set up a new bid strategy? So we're going to take you through an example with my personal favorite bidding strategy, which is Target CPA. We're going to walk you through the planning pieces, actual implementation, and then a really important part that we haven't talked too much about yet, which is how to measure your success and take action from there. So let's get started. All right, plan, implement, measure. Planning is the first thing we gotta be thinking about. So first things first, we need to select the best campaigns to move to a smart bidding strategy. Now, I think, and I would say that most of us here at Google would recommend moving your entire account over to a smart bidding strategy. We are confident that that's likely the best fit for most of our customers. However, we don't expect you to transition every single campaign in one go. We want you to start by transitioning those that will unlock the greatest opportunity with smart bidding. So that's really, especially for Target CPA, we need to be very critical about the campaigns that we're choosing, making sure that they're truly a good fit for the strategy. So here are the types of things that we want you to be thinking about. Look at your campaigns and identify those that are not budget constrained. As we said before, for Target CPA and Target ROAS, those really sophisticated bidding strategies, we need flexibility. So we need to ensure that you have the budget to spend for all of the conversions available to you. So we want to ensure that you're not budget constrained. As a general rule of thumb, I would recommend setting your campaign budget to 10 times your target CPA. That's going to be a safe way to start and ensure that you have that budget flexibility. Next step, think about your conversion volume. Again, this falls back to those machine learning algorithms. They need, in order to make these brilliant decisions, they need data to work with. So they need your existing conversion volume to use to learn more about your users. So you need to ensure that you have high conversion volume. And then finally, we want to make sure that you have less than 70% impression share. And this really falls more on search campaigns that you're moving over. We want to make sure that you have that flexibility. Important thing to note, and actually this will make your life even easier and make this step even easier, is we actually bubble all of this up to you through your AdWords Opportunities tab. The Opportunities tab is actually pretty amazing. It really helps you figure out like what your next steps are and where the greatest opportunity lies in your AdWords campaigns. So when you look at your Opportunities tab, we'll actually surface for you those campaigns that we recommend moving and the bidding strategy we recommend moving them to. So we take even more of that guesswork out. And as Matt was saying before, we can provide some simulation data. So not only do you know what campaigns to move, what you should move them to, but also what we expect the return will be there, which is really cool and should give you a lot more confidence as you move things over to Smart Bidding. So kind of first step, if you want to take the manual work out of it, hit the Opportunities tab first and see what we're surfacing and what's available to you. All right, moving over to the implementation side of things.
Perfect. So you just want to, with implementation, you want to make sure you're setting yourself up for success with Smart Bidding. So I want to talk about a few keys in how to implement this. So talking first about your ad structure. On search campaigns, you want to make sure that you have a minimum of at least 3 expanded text ads per ad group. We see better performance, just as good ad hygiene, that you have at least 3 ads per each ad group, and that will help to improve your performance and set you up well for Smart Bidding. On the display side, the best practice is to enable responsive ads in each of your ad groups. And we'll talk a little bit more in the next slide about why that's the benefits of doing that. Second would be making sure that you're applying lists. This could be an RLSA list, a similar audience list on search to get the benefits of audience targeting. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then on the display side, you might want to consider moving to Smart Display Campaigns, which is one of our fully automated campaign types to help manage your display efforts. Third would be ensuring each of your ad groups is focused around a specific theme and directs to a singular landing page. And make sure that you're making improvements to your landing page performance. That's part of the experience for your users. And then lastly would be setting a target that's already near your current campaign performance. And we'll dive into each of these a little bit. So first, as I mentioned, have at least 3 expanded text ads per ad group. This means the system can test variations. So it's all about giving the system different messaging styles to test, and ensuring relevant ads are being shown to the right users at the right time. And having the quantity of ads in there really gives us more options to allow Smart Bidding to work. On the display side, so the important takeaway here and stat line is that advertisers have typically seen a 15% increase in reach at similar performance compared to standard text ads by using responsive ads. So that is our lead recommendation if you are running display campaigns. Going back to the second point here, making sure you're taking advantage of the audience targeting that's available to you. Applying lists, this allows our algorithms to automatically account for rich user signals. These are some of the signals like we were talking about earlier in our presentation, things like intent or context or the recency that someone visited your page. This allows our system to adjust your bids up and down for those really key audiences that you feel or we feel most likely are going to convert for you. Keep in mind that audience recency is now a Smart Bidding signal, which again, would help our systems to understand how recently someone visited your page and how much more likely that might cause them to be a converter in the future. On the display side, as I was mentioning earlier, the recommendation is to, especially if you're a first-time user, to move to Smart Display Campaigns. This is a fully automated campaign type that takes care of all aspects of your display campaign. And by utilizing the machine learning technology of the Google Display Network, Smart Display Campaigns are able to scale your campaigns. And it's a really great campaign type that I would encourage you to try. Essentially, all you have to give is a budget, a bid, and creative assets to build out your ads, and sit back and kind of watch the magic of Smart Display Campaigns unfold for you. Really takes the work out of it, and you get more bang for your buck.
I can tell you're passionate about it because you just called it magical.
I might have. They are very great. So the third one is that you want to make sure each ad group is focused around a specific theme. Again, just going back to this, having distinct ad groups allows you to be more targeted with your keywords and ad copy. And it means users only see ads that are relevant to them, which is the ultimate goal that we're trying to achieve is getting the right ad in front of the right person. And then lastly, you want to make sure that you are setting a target that's near the current campaign performance. What that means is typically you want to look at historicals. So if you already have cost per acquisition data, CPA data we would recommend maybe looking at the last 30 days, last 4 weeks, to determine how to set a realistic CPA bid amount. That's important for our systems. We depend on you to put in what is the correct CPA that you should put in. And one easy way to derive that is to look at historically, what has your performance been like? That would be our main recommendation. Make sure that the target set is near your current campaign performance.
And keep in mind, you can change this over time, right? So if you start with that historical number that you know is going to be like a very realistic target, over time you can then bump it down. But you want to start with something realistic so the algorithm is using a realistic goal to focus on.
Absolutely. A couple also just pointers to keep in mind when implementing smart bidding. So first, I guess we just talked about this, but set targets carefully, especially if you're using target CPA or ROAS. Our systems are only as good as the data that is put into them for them to learn. And so it's important to be thoughtful as you're setting these. Second, limit the number of changes made to your campaign immediately after transitioning. We do see some people getting maybe anxious and deciding to adjust things or manually make changes on their own. It's really not recommended. Give the system some time to learn. Give it that learning period, maybe 1 to 2 weeks of uninterrupted learning, because our systems need data. The algorithms need data to be able to make smarter and smarter decisions for you over time. So you want to try to avoid or limit the number of changes, especially up front and in that learning period. Closely related to that is avoiding immediate analysis of smart bidding performance. There's going to be some fluctuation in the system's ability to hit, for example, if you're using target CPA in the initial period. Once it gets through the learning period, it's going to be a lot more reliable and consistent. So don't base the performance of the campaign right out of the gate. Again, give it some time to learn and come back and assess it. And we'll talk a little bit in the later slides about what timelines you should be looking at to wait on when you should be evaluating. And then be mindful of seasonality trends. If it's Black Friday or the holidays, you might be shifting your strategy slightly different compared to a non-holiday period.
And you can talk to your rep about that if you have concerns about fluctuations that you know are going to happen. If you know that there's a particular season, maybe Valentine's Day is big for you. I don't know. But talk to your rep, and they'll be able to help you make the best decision on how to work with your smart bidding.
Perfect. And then our last step in our process of implementing, and I guess we talked about implementing now, how do you measure and know that it's actually working for you, that smart bidding is working? I want to talk a little bit about how to get an accurate understanding of your performance. So here's, as I was saying, here's a little bit more on timing, information on timing. So it typically takes 1 to 2 weeks for the smart bidding algorithm to calibrate for a newly implemented bid strategy. So again, you might have the tendency or the urge to go in and make tweaks early on. We would recommend that learning period is respected, and just know that the system is doing everything it can to glean insights so that it can get you the best performance going forward.
Yeah, and you can actually, in the interface, through your bid strategy report, if you're using the new version of the AdWords interface, you can see exactly how many days are left in your campaign's learning period. So if you're chomping at the bit to get in there and assess it, like hop in and look at the number of days left. It is going to differ depending on your campaign. Like, we can't give you a clear timeline. We're saying 1 to 2 weeks because it's totally different depending on the amount of data you have available, et cetera, et cetera. So take a look in the interface and you'll see loud and clear exactly how long you should be using as a learning period.
That's a great point. One other thing to call out, you do want to take into consideration the time lag that happens for conversions, especially if you know that your business, if there's a large period of time that might elapse from when someone clicks your ad to when they ultimately convert. You're going to want to tack that time onto the learning period time of when you decide to actually go in and assess whether or not this is working. We need to give the system time, and customers honestly time, to go in and actually convert. And then that will help you, if you wait that extra period, that will help you to get a true, accurate representation and assessment of what is actually type of value the campaign is driving for you. And so it would be important to, again, not look at results too early if you know that your conversion lag is a little bit longer.
my general rule of thumb is to take your learning period that you see in the interface and then your specific time lag for conversions. And you want to think this might be different on search and display, so you'll want to look at those depending on the network that you've applied smart bidding on, and just tack the two of those together. Add your learning period and your time for conversions and sit tight until that time period is complete. Then it's time that you can hop in and start measuring your performance.
Perfect.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about evaluating your performance once you've patiently waited for your learning period and your conversion lag to end. So there's a couple of different ways you can evaluate how you're doing. In this particular example, we're talking about target CPA. So we have a very clear metric that we are optimizing toward. And that makes things super easy because you can use the first method, our recommended method here, which is target metric comparison. Literally look and see, did your CPA shift during the time that you began using smart bidding? If you indeed have seen this improvement in that particular metric, be it target CPA or ROAS if you're using that, you know you're doing a great job. The other thing you can do, try using drafts and experiments. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this. This is available in AdWords, and it allows you to run a test and measure the impact of automated bidding on your account by running two nearly identical campaigns simultaneously. One that's opted into smart bidding, one that's opted into manual bidding, so you can get like a true comparison going there about which works better for you. Keep in mind that's only going to be available for certain types of smart bidding that you're using and on certain networks. So if you have questions about that, definitely talk to your rep and see if you're going to be able to use drafts and experiment for that particular campaign. And then finally, the most traditional way of doing this, I would say, is a pre-post analysis. So you would want to take the 2 weeks prior to setting up smart bidding, then, hold off on that time period where we're adding the learning period and the conversion lag, and then take a look at the 2 weeks after that time period. And when you have those two clean sets of 2 weeks, look at the target metric and see, did you perform better in one case or the other? So super simple way of looking at it, but it's important, right? It's important that we're always kind of critical and getting in and ensuring that we're making smart choices in our campaigns. So you want to hop in and make sure that this is working well for you, and then you can optimize from there. All right, so talking about next steps. Hopefully you guys are all super excited about smart bidding. Maybe you're using it on a couple campaigns and you're ready to go even further. Maybe you've yet to dip your toes in the water and Matt's very compelling presentation has convinced you to get started today. Whatever the case may be, we want to talk about the easy next steps that you should be taking to get started with automated bidding. So Matt will walk through kind of your action items for the next few weeks.
Perfect, thanks Erin. So I think you could start today with this now. Go ahead and identify the campaigns that are a good fit for smart bidding and assess how you can get started. As Erin said earlier, maybe you're not comfortable moving all of your campaigns over at once. Maybe it's just a select few, but use things like the AdWords Opportunity Center to help you identify campaigns where you feel like you could get started with this. Once you've identified some campaigns, go back and some of the things we talked about in implementation, go ahead and implement those smart strategies and get them set up. Again, as Erin said, if drafts and experiments is something that you're interested in and doing a head-to-head comparison, talk to your AdWords representative about getting that set up, or if you're interested in doing that yourself, go ahead, feel free to do that as well. Could be an interesting way to do a head-to-head comparison if this is your first time using smart bidding and you want to run an experiment to see the results. And then give once you've implemented everything, give the system that 2 initial weeks to go through a learning period. Sit back, don't touch it, and let the results happen. And once we've hit that 2-week learning period, the system every day will just continue to learn more and more to get smarter and smarter.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't touched on that enough. This concept that literally these strategies get smarter and smarter the more information they have. Like, you let this run for a couple weeks and it's going to continue to optimize and learn, because every single interaction people have with your ads is feeding the algorithm with more information. And I think that is like so incredible, and just a really exciting thing about smart bidding is you know that you're continuously making smart optimization decisions, and it's truly happening automatically.
I agree. It's very cool. After you've allowed the learning period to pass and the accounting for any time lag for conversions that might be coming in more delayed, at the 3 to 4 week mark, this is a good time to go ahead and actually assess your performance. As Aaron said earlier, we do want you to set a realistic target. If, for example, if you're using target CPA, if that means being conservative, at this 3 or 4 week period, this would be the time then to maybe make minor adjustments downwards. If you see that things are getting a good performance and you feel like you could make that minor adjustment, this would be the time to do that at about that month period. Great. Little bit of thoughts on just reviewing what we talked about. So the main reasons that we feel that smart bidding can be very powerful for everyone is it does allow you to work faster, it allows you to work smarter, and it allows you to win more. What's not to love about smart bidding? Be a marketer of the future with smart bidding. This is the here and now. This is the current technology available to us in AdWords, and it will only continue to improve over time. So be that marketer that is experiencing and taking advantage of the power of smart bidding.
Yeah, take the plunge, focus on get smart bidding set up, and then you can focus on the next big things that are not yet automated. Cool. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.